We have a guest in the studio from the Kenya Revenue Authority, KRA, and he is Walter Omata. Walter is the manager in charge of the agriculture and real estate sector for the East and South Nairobi Tax Office. Walter, very good morning to you.
Good morning.
Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation. Welcome to the hot seat of the Situation Room.
Thank you.
So when we talk about, these tax offices, East and South of Nairobi, where is that?
East and south of Nairobi is actually, we are located at Samia Park, Samia Business Park. Actually, KRA has divided Nairobi into sections. So we have the east, west, north, and of course south of Nairobi.
Okay.
So east and south of Nairobi, we are located at the Samia Park, the Samia Business Park.
So is Samia in east or south?
Yeah, Samia is in east. We combine both east and south.
All right, just so that we have an understanding.
Yeah.
So east begins where and where does it end? And then the other west, where does it begin and where does it end?
And the north.
Yes, I just want to get it in my head so that I know.
Okay, east is part of Industrialia up to Eastlands.
Okay, that's east. Okay.
Yeah. Then south we have area like Otiende, Langata.
South Sea.
Yeah, South Sea. Then of course west we have areas in Westlands. Those other parts. Yeah. So I cannot be very much in knowing the
So there's an office
cutting point,
in
but
Westlands.
yeah, we do have the west of Nairobi. We have that office located in the Corporate Business Center, Upper Hill. Then north of Nairobi, we have the office located on 14th floor of Times Tower. Because we also have other offices like the Large Taxpayers Office, which is in Westlands. And then the Medium Taxpayers Office, which is also in Corporate Business Center, Upper Hill.
Oh, so
There's a large taxpayer.
Yes.
Yo, Ujui.
no.
Medium.
No, Eric, wait a moment. We may be like taxpayers. Our brother has to define for us. Here we are thinking.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the
You're thinking
non-taxpayers
large
office.
is big amounts per individual. Maybe he's saying large in terms of
Large
the numbers of
taxpayers-
people who come.
No,
We
Listen.
define them on terms of
Yes.
turnover. What's your turnover?
okay. And to be large, it's how many Kenyan shillings?
Over 2 billion.
No, we are as we are small.
Medium taxpayer is from what range? Up
It's
to 2
from
billion.
750 million to 2 billion.
Told you we are small, chief.
And then 750 below.
Those are now small and medium.
Baba, we are small.
Small and medium.
No. Somebody with a turnover of 700 million shillings.
Eric,
Mostly it's
Don't
actually
be small.
Eric,
Man. What do you mean?
There are
Eric,
companies.
the struggle we have had to even turn over 100,000, my friend.
And I'm classified in the same category as somebody is turning over 700 million.
It looks like we're all small.
Yes.
Small and medium.
Oh, okay. So
The day we do a turnover of 100 million shillings,
Yes.
we want to move to the next category. We can't operate in the same category.
actually,
as this
we'll
other.
go to KRA and tell them to put us in that category of large.
Yes.
Yes.
Eh, bwana.
I wish you the best.
So you're manager in charge of agriculture and real estate sector.
Yes.
That means that also KRA has then also categorized sectors.
Yeah, we have various sectors.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
So this one of yours,
Yeah.
which one is it?
It's agriculture and real estate.
What's that?
Yeah, that's agriculture. Is simply agriculture. I don't know how I can define it, but real estate also. These are developers, people putting out houses, and also people earning rental income. So that's where I put it on that real estate part of it.
Okay.
Then agriculture are people involved in farming and also export.
So is
or
that
sale
value
of
chain?
agricultural products
Is that value chain in agriculture from
Yeah.
production to
to export.
To export.
Yes.
people in Marikiti are not under you?
No.
Those are traders.
Yeah, those are traders.
The people who transport are not under you.
No.
Okay.
So are you saying that this same department that you head is mirrored in the other sections within Nairobi as well?
All over those stations that I've just mentioned.
There are people doing agriculture in
Oh, no,
this
no.
area.
I get it completely. That one I've gotten. I wasn't thinking of light tracts of land with wheat. No, that's not what was on my mind. I was looking at as you've correctly put it, value chain. You know, I understand the term, by the way. Yes. This is very good.
Okay, so then exactly who and what is the expectation of these individuals or groups? And what is the expectation in terms of what they're supposed to do in terms of taxes, and how well are they covered in terms of information about how they're supposed to go about this?
I think one of the responsibility of a Kenyan citizen, whether you're an individual or it's a company, one of your obligations is to file tax returns and pay the tax returns and pay the taxes that are due. That is an obligation. It is actually covered in the law. It's actually in section 52B of the Income Tax Act. You are required as an individual to file a return and account for the taxes. And of course, we know how taxes come about. One, I can say it's as a result of the incomes that you are having. It's actually the income that you earn that triggers the payment of taxes. Of course, also the law requires you that once you have the PIN, if you own a PIN, then you must file the returns, whether you have an income
Or not.
or not. Yeah.
So you're saying that all these people who don't have PINs are exempt?
Now, I was going to that because I knew someone was going to ask me that. No, they are not exempt from paying tax. It's only that the law requires that you can obtain a PIN after you reach the age of 18. Yes.
Law requires.
Yes.
So you get to 18, you are expected by law
Yeah.
to get a PIN.
To get a PIN number.
Okay.
Yeah.
So no adult in Kenya should say, I haven't filed, you see, I don't have a PIN.
Yes. And everybody who has got a PIN number, if you have that PIN, you are required by the law to file a return. And return is not a payment return. A return can be a nil return or a credit return. So it shouldn't be like I have to pay taxes. No, there are times when you cannot. If you don't have any income, then you don't pay in taxes because you didn't have any income. So you just do file a nil return.
Okay.
Yeah.
What exactly is this nil return? I think let's get into the proper understanding of it. Is it nil payment or nil income or nil both?
Or nil profit?
Yes, nil means that there's no tax payable and there's no credit carried forward.
Okay.
So it's just nothing. You're paying nothing. That's nil return. This let me take an example of university students, for example. They are required to have that PIN by the universities. They require them to have those PINs. So they come and they get the PIN certificates, but they are not engaged in any form of employment. They're actually students. So such a person, what you do at the end on 30th, by 30th of June. So you just go and do a nil return. Just fill the return, put all the information that's required, then at the part of income and just demonstrate as zero, nothing. You didn't get anything out of that.
Okay.
So it becomes a nil return.
Still on the issue of realizing or acknowledging that it is important to do that, then how much easier has it been made then for the passing on of this information? Because there's still a lot of folks then who understand this differently from the way you've explained it. That it should be obvious that, look, I'm not working, I don't make any money, so I don't owe KRA anything. But here we are saying that you must file just that you are not earning anything and let us know. So in terms of that communication, how much easier has it been over the years? Or even till to date?
I think over the years, KRA has been changing, trying to make it easier for people to file their returns. We have to agree that one of the things that makes it easier for you, not only that KRA has brought it online, but it's simply the time that you are given. Remember, right now we are filing the return for 2021. For 2021, that's what we are filing.
Yes.
From January to December.
So this is the calendar year 2021.
Yes. So whatever you earned in 2021, you are given 6 months to file it. That's why we are asking you, okay, by 30th of June, make sure you have done that you have filed your return. I mean, that is simple enough. It gives you all the time, 6 months within which to file the return.
Where the problem, I think, has arisen, even in my own mind, when one talks about filing a return, the income bit, I understand.
Yeah.
Declaring it, I understand.
Yeah.
But at what point do people have to get to that realization that a tax return is not, it doesn't necessarily relate to money you have earned. It just relates to you stating, in my mind as a layman, the state of your finances.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that the revenue authority can understand.
Exactly.
You either received
Because
money.
most of the money that KRA receives, we actually receive it
Yes.
earlier.
You have received it. So all I'm doing is
So just give us your statement.
Yes.
This is what and then we'll go compare with what you have.
what you have.
What we already have,
Yes.
and then find if there's any variance. Then we'll ask you what's the problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, let me come to the question. We had a gentleman by the name of Mr. Yeager in the studio a while back.
Oh yes.
And he mentioned something that I particularly found very delightful. That KRA can owe me money.
Yes.
It's very pleasing. Just the thought of it is very pleasing.
Yes.
Now, let's talk about the reality.
Yes.
At what point will KRA owe me money?
Okay. Let's get this. For example, you are an employee. Let me just use the word of employee.
Yes, please.
You are an employee, and you, over that financial year, some pay were deducted from you.
Yes.
But then you had some reliefs, because you do have reliefs if you have insurance, or if you have a mortgage. These reliefs are supposed to be deducted from the pay that you are supposed to pay. So you might, when you are working, the amounts that you are supposed to pay, you need to deduct those reliefs. Now, in the process that the reliefs are more, I mean, you deducted it and you ended up
Paying
more. So you are supposed to pay maybe 10,000 or maybe 20,000, but because of the relief of 5,000, you were supposed to pay 15,000, but you paid 20,000. So KRA owes you the 5,000.
That bit even I can understand. But now,
The
me
actual pay.
actually receiving the 5,000.
Oh yeah, now I know what you are talking. The refund part of it.
KRA na muganga same was up. Nowadays, kiendacho kwa
The
muganga.
refund part of it. I think that's where people
Yes.
need to be more educated on. In that before you are refunded, actually, there's some kind of a check that is being done. It has to be checked to be confirmed that you really owe that. And you may not know, but when you are filing your returns, there is a place where you can upload that evidence to make it easier so that you don't have to come looking for you. You can upload the evidence of your overpayment so that by just looking at that, the person doing that check can actually look at it and recommend your refund without having coming to you.
How long
But-
does this take? I mean, in terms of time, what are we talking about here? Because there are folks who talk about applying for such refunds and don't get them for years. Are we saying the reason why they're not receiving these refunds is because this check has not taken place?
Yes.
And
Most
then
probably.
who should be the initiator of this check to say that, all right, you've applied for a refund, we need to do this background or foreground check, whatever the case may be? Who should initiate that process?
We have officers who do that, but I will also advise you that you can follow it up. You as an individual, you can follow it up, but the office, we have our systems that will pick it up. And like I said before, in the absence of the evidences that are needed, then we find it very difficult to go
How
ahead.
long should it take? Let's just assume that CT has all his ducks in a row. He said this and this and this is what I've done, what I've applied for. And he says,
yeah.
here's all when he's filing his returns come the 30th of this month,
Yes.
he has uploaded all said evidence and then has initiated the request and said, can I get my money back, KRA?
Yes, that will take
How long should it
30
take?
days.
30 days.
Yeah.
All right. So within 30 days, then you get your money back.
Yeah,
So then are we unequivocally saying that these folks who complain about, I've lodged for a refund on insurance relief for years, but never got a refund, the question is, do you ever refund? They fall into this category of
we do
having not
refund only
uploaded?
that maybe they are not taking time of following it up. The system is that, I mean, the way people feel is that once you have lodged your return and you know there is a refund, you should get it automatically. Actually,
That
ideally,
it should be.
But now, again, I will not, if I'm the one who is looking at your records, I will not be able to pay you until now. Where is the evidence of that? Which people do not actually do.
Walter,
People do not put.
if you have evidence that I have not filed my returns,
Yeah.
if you have evidence that I have not remitted my taxes,
Yeah.
if you have evidence that I have remitted my taxes, surely you must have evidence that I have over-remitted my taxes.
I can see it, but where are the documents?
This is
Everything
the thing.
supports.
What essentially Walter was
Document is
saying.
what you have.
Come on. Well, Walter, essentially,
What I filed
Yeah.
is showing I owed you 15,000.
Yes.
What you have received
Yeah.
is 20,000.
Yeah.
What more evidence?
You of course, we will look at. We need to see from. In fact, most of them will come from if you are an employee, most of those evidence will come from the employee. But you have to give us that because I cannot just say, okay, if I am the person analyzing all this and I found all these people claiming, I cannot just say yes. I have to be convinced that really.
that makes
This is
sense.
an
But I have to go
overpayment.
back to that point that if you are here and you're sifting through this information and you see that there's an overpayment and this person has also applied, what I'm hearing from you, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is that we look at it and we see that there's an overpayment. We see that this person has applied, but we're going to sit on it and wait for this individual to bring this information to us. In the absence of that action, KRA is going to be sitting on millions of shillings
No.
until
We
people
don't.
bring the information.
Actually, it's not. We don't wait for you to do that. We'll actually ask you. Okay, there's an overpayment here. Can we get the evidence showing that?
So what evidence would you be looking out for?
These are your payments that you've done.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
payments and all that.
So receipt of payment.
Yes.
This is the bank transfer.
The bank transfers and all.
You see, the bank transfer goes with what I had filed. When I file my returns, I receive what's it called from the KRA system that tells you this is how much you're paying and this is your unique number that you shall input for this. So it's coming from you. So you want me to give you your own documentation to prove that I'm the one who filed those?
I think it's a wide topic, and we may not have the answer right now. But actually, what
Basically,
is that we subject
you're saying
it
you
to,
take
to,
it through
to
due
some kind of
process.
an audit. We have to audit first.
Right.
Then now the outcome is now when we can pay you.
Okay. So there are very many people who view this 30th of June as, some big deadline. And they wonder, so why must it be 30th of June? Why can't it go? Why can't you extend? Even IEBC extends when they want us to register as voters. Why can't you extend this thing to August? Even Communication Authority extends when they want us to register with telcos.
Our SIM cards.
Yes.
I think you have to agree with me that you already have 6 months from January to June within which to file the returns.
And I think that's a point of emphasis.
Yeah,
That the window opens
in January.
from the 1st of January.
Yes.
Actually,
To 30th of June. But, just like I say, better pay in time than on time.
most people think that the window opens on the 1st of June.
Yeah.
Yes. So that they're thinking 30 days, goodness, it's a very short time.
And then the system will collapse. It will hang.
Exactly.
That is
It will
what
get
happens.
congested.
That on 30th, you'll see we have some problems with everybody trying to get
Yes,
in
yes.
to file the returns.
What does KRA do to ensure that people actually understand this 6 months window?
If you go to KRA has actually been trying a match. We are on Twitter. Even if you go to if you have, all of us have our KRA accounts. If you go to iTax, there's always that thing reminding you. KRA is actually reminding people on a daily basis to do that, to file their returns.
Yeah.
And even on iTax, they'll take you step by step, showing you how to file the returns. And the easiest return to file is the nil return.
So the reason why I mention
Yes,
it,
yes, yes.
I know
Yeah.
what KRA does.
Yeah.
KRA even sends emails reminding
Exactly.
you.
Yeah.
Okay? They even send SMS messages reminding
Exactly.
you. This I know. But with all these reminders, when I look at the rush in that last week, it tells me that communication is not hitting home as it should.
It's the interpretation.
Yes.
Because even as I'm receiving that message in February,
Yes.
remember to file your tax returns. I'm seeing KRA is telling me June is coming.
It doesn't register.
Remember, June, you file your tax returns.
So my mind is in June.
Yes. It's like, remember, we're going to have an election on the 9th of August.
Yes.
So I'm like, yeah. No,
Fine.
I'm aware,
We'll wait.
so-
When August comes, then we'll go and vote.
Yeah.
But then now that one, I don't think we'll blame it on KRA per se, because we send the info. But it's now the perception of the Kenyan. How
I'm in
is the
agreement
people
with-
just take it, and then it is the way we do things, maybe that.
I'm in agreement with you.
Yeah.
You see, I also want to ask the question and thinking, okay, what would KRA need to do in order for people to understand that you don't have to wait for June to file your returns?
And that is what I'm saying, that we have actually done it.
And I'm saying that communication
Yeah.
doesn't hit home as it should. Because if it did, then by June, you'd have people trickling in, just a few people. But June is when there's a rush.
That is our Kenyan mindset. I think we just have to agree with that.
It's
That
saying-
we always wait for the last day and then we rush.
Actually, you have a point.
There are very, very many questions,
It's
but
true.
I think Eric wants to go to a break. But very, very many questions about us, and it's good to hear, because then a lot of these questions then
Questions are coming in on social
Absolutely.
media, right?
Huge,
28
Yeah.
minutes to 9. Remember, you have about 7 days until the deadline for filing the returns. You could have started filing these returns 1st, 2nd of January, 3rd of January, 14th of February, all the way up to the end of this month.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
KRA manager in charge of agriculture and real estate sector at the East and South Nairobi Tax Office. We are talking about filing and paying your taxes and how easy that has been made. Ndu, many questions.
Many questions this morning. Let's start from a few of them. Nandi says, I forgot my password and I tried to change. They sent it through email, but it is not working. I've tried more than 4 times to be able to communicate with somebody. How do I get about this by the time the deadline rolls through? I'll give you another one. Can you explain to us in detail how one is supposed to file their taxes? Not all of us know the process. Maybe we can start with those two now, because they're quite a number.
Okay. Well, the first person asked about change of password. Did he get it, or he got the password? He got the password.
It was
but he's
sent
not
to
going
email, but not.
It was sent through email, but that particular password that they received was not working. And they've tried 4 times thereafter to generate another one, but then
I
no
think,
dice.
yeah, what you should do, keep on generating that, because maybe there's a problem with that password, or maybe the way you should not copy it, copy and paste. Shouldn't copy and paste.
You just
Or
write
write
it.
up.
Write
Write it
exactly what is there. So maybe that is where we have a problem.
Okay.
Do not copy and paste. Write using the your typewriter until you get it correctly. And then filing of the tax return. What did you say?
How exactly this works? I think it's a
Someone
really
wants to be
simple
taken through a
question, but
step-by-step
just, yeah.
tutorial.
First of all, tell them where they
There
can get the
is.
step.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to
www.
say. That
dot
go to
iTax.
go to KRA website. You'll get a tutorial on how
Yeah.
to file that
What-
return.
What's the KRA website?
Yeah, the KRA portal. KRA portal.
This is itax.go.ke.
Yes, exactly.
Wait,
itax.go.ke.
The KRA portal. And
Yes.
from there, there's they'll be taken through. There's a
Okay, I think it's because they have it's HTTPS.
and if
it's
you are not
itax.kra.go.ke.
another thing is if you cannot, then I'd advise you visit the next KRA office that is available. We also are in Huduma centers.
Okay.
You can visit there and you should be able to be assisted in filing your returns. Yeah.
There are people who have also offered these services at a fee at cyber cafes
Yes,
and all.
and there's some cyber cafes, but you need to be very careful with the cyber cafes because the email addresses they use, they could be using their own email addresses.
Yeah.
so that when you go get the service from there, any communication from KRA doesn't come to you.
It goes to them.
It goes to them. So when you are there, you be careful that you give them your correct email address and ask them to use that email address, your email, not their own email address. So we've been having problems with that. In fact, the first case of password, I thought it went to a wrong email address. So normally that's what happens, that you go to a cyber.
So you go to a cyber, the person at the cyber looks at you and asks, "Ukona email?" So they create an email.
Yeah, exactly.
And they, just for purposes of
purposes
creating
of
your
that,
account on
getting your
iTax
PIN number.
and getting your PIN, and then they file for you.
Yes,
After that, they close, you pay them, move.
they move on.
So KRA now has communication with this particular email address, which
Yes.
nobody is opening.
Nobody's opening and nothing. We can't get you, and you keep on wondering why you have issues, and yet you cannot get. If your password is stuck, for example.
Okay.
You renew
How do
and
you
it comes-
assist those who have gone through that predicament? Those who have a PIN,
Yes.
they last year filed their returns.
Exactly.
This year, they're not able to access their
I'll advise them
KRA portal.
to come to to the nearest KRA office, or go to the Huduma centers where we have KRA officers, and they will be assisted in filing the returns. We actually have officers there whose job is just to assist in filing the returns.
Will they assist them by also giving them a new email address?
Yeah, they
or
will.
something?
They will do it in such a way that rectify it so that they give you the correct email address.
Okay.
They'll actually rectify your account.
So just again, KRA.go.ke.
Yeah.
If you go to the website, you'll get video tutorials on how to file the returns.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay. So let's look at another question. Please request KRA to clarify the statement that KRA is not in the business of refunding taxes, but rather collecting taxes.
Wow.
Is that a thing?
No.
Maybe you can clarify that, because then again, there are quite a number of people who still think that it is not about refunding taxes but collecting them. So when it comes to the refund issue, we have some ambiguity.
No, there is that issue of fairness. You got to be fair to you. So KRA, as much as KRA collects, we are also allowed to refund in cases where in cases where due processes have been followed. So when your refund is genuine, I believe you should be able to get your refund.
Okay.
Yes.
On that note, then the next person, Julius, asks, please, I've lodged a refund
Yes.
on insurance relief for several years, and have never gotten a refund. What should I do?
Yeah, well, let me advise Julius. First of all, go to your station. And if you want to know your station, just print your PIN certificate. It will tell you whether in Nairobi West, east of Nairobi. It will show that, please. Go to your station, and then go to KRA has got this relationship management. Go to your relationship manager or your account manager, and your problem will be sorted out from there. Yeah.
Must I make a trip? Is there a number that I can call?
Yes, there are various numbers that you can call. Yeah.
And I'll find them on the website as
Yeah,
well.
and just go to the website, you'll find.
Okay.
You can call the call center, and they'll direct you to your station or your account manager or your relationship manager.
Okay. Now, in terms of meeting somebody that will be able to help you, Colin said, I had an overpayment evidence back in the year 2018. All right. He went to Times Towers, but he was dismissed and nobody was listening to his query. Please, can you tell us with transparency on the issue of returns? I told you, Walter, everybody's asking about these questions of returns. This individual has done exactly what you've asked.
Yeah.
Has gone to Times Tower and they told him, no, sorry, please. Let's talk about something else. Essentially.
So
what
he
happens?
says.
What happens in that case?
I don't know what happened in his case, but I believe that we have processes on how to address these issues. I don't know where he went to.
He says he
But
went to Times Tower.
Times Tower, who did he see? Because the Times Tower, you might go and maybe in another
He went to a department that
department which does not deal
with that matter.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it's essential that you know where your station is. If you know where your station is, it makes it very simple, because now you can walk to the station, you go to the head of the station. If you have a problem, I think that's how we have the head of stations. They should be able to assist you in that. If you cannot get assistance from the people down here, go to the head of the station and you'll be assisted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Marion says there's a question about the reconciliation of employment income. Where does one get help? Because some of the officers had tried to take advantage and asked for kidogo.
Wow. That statement you said always gets me. I don't want to hear about it, but anytime I hear that, I'm always taken aback by that. But I'm not going to deny that he didn't get that information. But if you have that, KRA has got a way of dealing with such people, such situations. You can report. Exactly. Just walk to. You can come. I'm the relationship manager. If my officer is doing that, I'm the manager. Please come and report to me. If you feel that you cannot do it, you can also do it discreetly. And we have this. This we call it whistle at KRA.go.ke. Just right there. Nobody will know who's done that, and from there we'll follow it up. Or we also have the Intelligence and Strategic Office. These are people who go. Investigation, they do those investigations. You can also write there to cic@kra.go.ke. If you feel that you
That is CIC. CIC at kra.go.ke.
And then we have whistle
at
kra.go.ke. Those are areas that you report such issues if you cannot face the person. But I prefer that if you come and an officer tells you that, better come and see the manager. Because somebody will just walk away very frustrated, like this gentleman is very frustrated. And you go away frustrated and your problem is not solved. So I'd rather you just walk into the manager's office and say, what's going on?
What is this?
What is this? Because as a manager, I always feel very bad when a taxpayer says that, because taxpayers are, to us or to me, those are our customers. And we need to treat them with the way you treat your customers, anybody. And the customer is always right, as we also say.
Yeah.
So there's a substantive part of that question, which is reconciliation of incomes.
Employment income.
How do you do that? What is reconciliation
what
of
he says
employment
that
income?
reconciliation simply of employment income simply means what you have declared in your return vis-a-vis what your employer has declared. Do they rhyme? Are they the same? We have situations where the employer declares less than what they have deducted from you. So in such a situation, we'll have to ask the employer to pay the difference. Yeah. And if certain things like that happens, I understand there are frustrations, because in such a situation, you cannot even get the TCC, the tax compliance certificate. Because when you apply, tax compliance certificate should be automatic. You should be able to apply for it and generate
it. Generates automatically.
But if there is some variance somewhere, then it won't go through. So it's just you have to come to KRA to just reconcile this. Find that, okay, my employer deducted 10,000, and this 10,000, is it reflected in his returns? If it is so, then okay. If it is not, then now we have to ask the employer where the money goes. Yeah. If it is paid, and then now we talk.
How does it happen? When you're filling out this form, do you get the P9 form?
Yes.
From your employer?
Your employer.
Right?
Yes.
If the employer is generating the P9 form, it basically is showing what they have deducted.
Exactly.
So how does...
But that one does not mean that the amount they deducted was remitted.
I see.
That is the problem.
So the issue is in the remittance.
Yeah, remittance.
So once I have filed with my P9 form
yes.
and I have put in the details,
yes.
should you not then be dealing with the employer? I have played my part. Why am I the one getting the inconvenience of not being able to access the tax compliance certificate?
That's why we say we need that reconciliation, because we have to start with you. You are the person who, from you.
I'm the taxpayer.
Because this thing is self-assessment. It is self-assessment. So the taxpayer should be, we do not know. It is you, the employer or the employee, who self-assess themselves, isn't it? So whatever you send to us, we believe is true, unless something comes out. Like now the employee comes out and says, no, there's something wrong. We won't know until somebody comes out with that. Okay. So that's where the reconciliation comes in.
Okay. So is there a way that it can be made easier for everybody to know exactly what they ought to do when it comes to filing returns, especially for those who are supposed to file nil returns when they're not in a working situation?
I think nil return is the easiest one to do, and you can do it on your phone. You just download the KRA app. There's an app there called It's called M Service, KRA M Service. It should take you about 1 or 2 minutes to file your nil return, so you don't have to go looking for that. Just download the M Service. From there, you can also apply for a PIN. You can do the checker. There's a tax checker. If you are dealing with somebody and you are not very sure whether that person is registered, you can actually check whether that person has got a PIN or is registered. So I think the M Service application is very, very easy to use, and it can help a lot, especially on people who have got no income at all.
Is it possible for the system to have kinks? Because that's another issue that's coming up now, that folks are saying that they have, payments due of up to 35,000 shillings. Meanwhile, an individual has never defaulted in terms of remittances that are made on a monthly basis. When having gone to KRA, they've been told to get all the P9 forms. How do they go about that?
Historical.
Yes.
It's just historical because that is about doing an audit. You have to check. It involves a lot of. You just have to go to historical.
So then, what happens? Should you get these P9 forms and they do this historical audit once again, and they find that there's an error here with this 35,000 or whatever on the account? What happens in a case like that?
An error on which side?
On KRA's side.
Yeah. We'll have to rectify. Maybe our system, we did not capture it correctly now. So we'll have to rectify that.
What is a P9 form?
This is what you are given by your employer showing
What you paid for the whole year.
the whole year.
The details of what you've
Details
paid.
of your payments, your contributions, if there's any reliefs.
So from that form, KRA can determine, looking at what was deducted from my salary, as you commented, that sometimes it may not have been remitted, but it was deducted.
Yeah.
So now that provides me with the proof that actually I'm compliant.
Yes.
So what if there was? So that's interesting, then, Walter. So what if there was an error, and then I got into a payment plan, which we also know happens with KRA. There was an error in my fear or whatever trepidation. I started and got into this payment plan, and then we come to find out later
That you actually.
that actually I was right, and I've been paying KRA for money that I actually did not owe KRA.
Then that's where the refund comes in.
You start now
that is
providing
where the refund
evidence.
comes
I
that
still
you
give
have
you
been overpaid.
evidence.
No. That one, we already have the evidence, remember? Yeah. So this one can be given as, it can be done two ways. You can be refunded, or you can request to use this money to offset future
Okay.
liabilities.
So there's the assumption that there will be a future liability,
Yeah, if you are still employed.
right?
Yeah, or
So you'll
of
not be
course,
needing to
everybody
remit
wants.
your
Everybody's
income.
in business, or people people are earning.
Which is easier for the client? To leave it in the KRA system in the hope that it can be used in the future? Because the story of the refund, it seems to be
a bit
it's
iffy.
a lovely discussion. It's like a pleasant thought that it
Not
can
moving
happen.
out of it.
Aspirational, futuristic expectation that doesn't really seem to happen. So it seems as though, and maybe you can correct us, but it seems as though that money is okay. Just
You
leave it
still
with
have-
us.
it
It's
becomes
still
a
here. You're
credit.
still together.
It's
So,
a
you know,
credit.
I'd rather use it to settle
To offset future.
future tax liability.
But it actually makes sense. I would like a position where KRA owes me. It feels good.
Doesn't it?
Yes.
No matter how
Filing
much
returns
it
and
is,
saying
no matter how
credit
much it is.
of
Yes.
6 shillings.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So conversationally, I'll not mention the amount. I said, but KRA owes me money.
KRA has my money.
It has my money. So,
On the issue of this filing, so at the end of every calendar year
Yes.
is when now you start at the end. You have the next 6 months to file your returns.
Including that one includes even companies.
Right.
If you are, because the companies now are filing for 30th, that companies with accounting year ending December,
Yeah.
so they are supposed to be filing on 30th of June. So you just count 6 months after the end of your accounting year.
Of your accounting year.
Yes.
For individuals, it's a calendar year.
It's a calendar
For
year.
companies, it's
The end of the accounting year.
end of their accounting year.
Yes.
Now, let's deal with the individuals.
Yes.
Between this January 1st and the 30th of June,
Yeah.
if I file my returns on the 15th of January, do you process that immediately, or do you wait until the end of June to start processing all of them and now saying, okay, Eric, you have issues with your P9, they don't correspond with your employers? Or is it automatic? Is
This
it
is
immediate?
automatic because everything we are doing online. We are doing it also. The computer actually works it out immediately.
So if there's an issue, it's
It
highlighted at this.
just be highlighted immediately. If you want to know if you have an issue, I can just go and highlight it. If I want to know, that's how we use our parameters to judge.
Okay, so one other question. I mean, I think we've heard that, come to KRA if you have an issue and we can sort that out. So kindly request to explain more about people with disability and then what they're supposed to do in the event of having to come and get clarification.
People with disability, most of the people take it that they are exempted from paying taxes, but actually they are not. It's only that they are exempted up to a certain limit. That is 150,000 per month. The first 150,000 is not taxable. So that is about 1.8 million in a year. So if you earn more than that, then the other part, which is up and beyond 1.8 million, is now charged to tax. Yeah.
When they have
But
complaints and such,
yes.
do they also need to physically go to Duma Center, to KRA, or is there a simpler way of addressing their concerns?
Oh, no, I get what you're saying. You're saying in terms of disability. How
In terms of that disability, physically having to come to Times Tower or wherever your center is.
I think that one will involve at least, yes. If they cannot do it online, in the sense that calling, then unfortunately they just have to come.
Okay.
Yeah, they just have to come.
Are there expedited desks at
Yes,
KRA
we do have.
where you will come and see if you're somebody
If you
with
go to
disability?
offices, actually there are areas designated for disabled persons, people with disabilities. And of course, I remember even when I was in CBC, I used to deal with some individuals who were disabled. I had to come down, so they don't have to come up.
Okay.
I will walk down and deal with them and then let them go. Because KRA has got that one in place.
Okay. That intelligence department, what else do they do?
Investigations.
Eric is asking for a friend.
Of what?
They do a bit of investigation. So that is the word intelligence. So
Right.
you know what they do that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So KRA has an intelligence.
Eric, tuambie tu ile mambo yetu before the...
Yeah, we deal with it here.
Let's deal with it.
Before the intelligence guys.
Before you better, and by the way, right now we have that voluntary disclosure program.
Yeah.
Yes. That you simply say, okay, over the years I've not been paying, but I've just decided now to declare what I've not been declaring.
It's like a tax plea bargain. kind
Yes,
of.
and then when you do it, this year, when you do it, then the penalties are
Waived.
capped at 50%. If you had done it last year, it was all of it
100% waiver
100%
for penalties.
for penalties and interest.
Walter, this is a
Yes.
conversation that we need to have again and again and again.
Thank you.
For everybody, as you can see, there are very many questions and
Yeah, yeah.
concerns about how to engage and understand KRA and all its work. But we thank you for coming.